Last month, RecoverFun sent me their new AirCuff 2.0 system to get my thoughts and opinions on their upgraded blood flow restriction training bands. Now, this isn't a video on what blood flow restriction training is or how it works or the evidence behind it. Although for the record, the evidence behind this intervention, helping to increase muscle size and strength at resistance loads of only 20 to 30% of one's maximal ability, is very well established. Now, as we get going here, I want to be very clear that I don't have any affiliation with RecoverFun. They sent me their cuffs to review in exchange for my honest thoughts, and that's it. And as always, all thoughts and opinions and discussions within this video are my own. RecoverFun doesn't get any input towards what I say in this video, and they don't get to see it before I post it to this channel. So typically, I use the BeStrong BFR system for my patients within the clinic and for the athletes that I train within the gym. And that's because it's a system that's worked quite well for me over the years. It's pretty versatile, it's pretty robust, and it's designed by a team of medical professionals, so I always have peace of mind when using it on myself and on others. But the full system is a bit more on the expensive side, and since I have a number of patients and athletes who would like to get a set of BFR cuffs for their own, I was intrigued by trying out the RecoverFun system, which costs notably less than the BeStrong system. So I had the RecoverFun team send over their new system to try. Now real quick, I do have additional content on blood flow restriction training here on my YouTube channel, and again, even more on my website. So if you do want to learn the ins and outs of how this training methodology works, feel free to watch more content here on this channel or head on over to my website. Also, if you find this review to be helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any sort of way, hitting the like button really would mean a lot to me. And if you'd like to stay up to speed with the content I'm uploading here on the channel, be sure to subscribe. All right, so I've been using the system now for about a month, both on myself and those whom I treat in the clinic, and I've been pretty impressed with how these cuffs function and feel. So let's go over a few of the highlights that have made this a pleasant experience for using the system, as well as a few things I'd personally change if it were up to me. So the quality of these cuffs has been quite adequate so far, as with about 1 month of use. Now, so far, I've got no concerns with anything pertaining to how they're put together or doubts about if they'll last a long time, but only time will tell. And I'm a big fan of the carrying bag that these cuffs come with, and I'm happy to see that the folks at RecoverFun include one regardless of whether you purchase only the leg cuffs or only the arm cuffs or both sets. And that's a nice touch since I'm always taking my cuffs from one location to the next, so having a bag where I can keep everything together makes life a bit easier for me. So there's really no quality related concerns or issues that I've run into as of yet. Like any other product, time will tell, but so far so good. In terms of their comfort, the cuffs do a great job of applying pressure without being disproportionately uncomfortable. And I do like the fact that the cuffs are a bit wider than the BeStrong cuffs, as I find that with the RecoverFun cuffs, I can use lower pressures since their cuffs are slightly wider. And that's kind of a weird thing that I've found about the BeStrong cuffs over the years. I have to pump them up to pressures that are typically beyond what's utilized or recommended within scientific literature, but that's just because I think that the cuffs are more narrow. Now, in contrast, I find that the pressures I use with the RecoverFun system are more in line with what's used in literature. Now, both myself and my colleagues and my patients, we all find that the RecoverFun cuffs produce notable fatigue in our muscles at those same pressures more so than the BeStrong system. And to be clear, that's not a major issue for the BeStrong system. I simply just pump it up a bit more and then experience the same sensations of pressure and ultimately fatigue within my muscles and my limbs. But it is nice to use a system that has been designed with slightly wider cuffs, since wider cuffs require less pressure to produce the same sensation of restriction around the extremities. In what I might say is the biggest win of the RecoverFun system, I'll mention that I am a big fan of their one-size-fits-all bands. Now, since I'm using BFR on multiple patients and athletes, I deal with arms of all sizes and legs of all sizes as well. And I have some very small legs that I use BFR on and some very large ones as well, and the same goes for arms. And as such, I need versatility with my cuffs, and with the BeStrong system, you purchase cuffs based on general limb sizes, meaning if you're working with multiple limb sizes, you'll probably have to use multiple size bands, all of which need to be purchased separately. Now, if you're using bands on yourself, that's not an issue at all. But if you're like me, where you're using cuffs on multiple individuals, it is a bit of a bummer to have to purchase separate bands based on size. And for me, it just means I have to spend a bit more money, and that's not the end of the world, but it is a bit of a nuisance. So it's certainly nice with the RecoverFun system that I can just grab one set of leg cuffs and not have to worry about if they'll fit the individual that I'm using them on. But this does lead to my first little gripe about the system. Now, this is a rather minor issue I have with the system, and it's one that won't apply to anyone who owns just a set of leg bands or a set of arm bands. But one of my issues that my colleagues and I often have is that the arm and leg bands look exactly identical, which makes them a bit tricky to know which ones are which when they're all rolled up and sitting in the bag. Now, it's a minor annoyance to be sure, but it's worth pointing out. Now, as an example, here's a picture of all 4 cuffs. And which ones are the armbands and which ones are the leg bands? Now, all I'm really doing here is just making the point that when wanting to quickly grab a pair of cuffs out of the bag, it'd be nice to either have them labeled or have them perhaps accented with different colors to denote which ones are armbands and which ones are leg bands. But if we go back to the win column here for a moment, I'll point out that I am a big fan of the self-contouring armbands that the RecoverFun system uses. And this is a smart move to make, since putting on an arm cuff all by yourself, it can be a bit tricky since you essentially only have one hand to use for completing the task. Now, the armbands hook around your arm, which makes the donning process infinitely more easy to do, and it's one that scores some bonus points in my book. It also makes it a bit easier to roll up the arm cuffs afterwards, which is nice, and there are some added Velcro tabs or straps that you can use when rolling up the cuffs to help keep them rolled up nice and tight. But these tabs do lead me into my second little gripe that I have. So both the leg and the armbands have a Velcro tab that I believe is designed to keep the cuffs rolled up and perhaps secured when in use. And while I can appreciate their design, I find that they're just more of a nuisance than anything else. Now, perhaps this is just me, but I find they needlessly get in the way when putting on the cuffs, particularly the armbands, and they aren't all that critical to keeping the cuffs rolled up either. Now, they're by no means a deal breaker, but I'm personally not a fan of them. And this may not be an issue for you, but I'm just not a fan of them since they seem to be more of a hindrance than an actual help. So at the end of the day, these air cuffs aren't a bad deal at all. Now, while I'll keep using my B Strong system alongside these cuffs, I wouldn't be surprised if, as time goes on, these air cuffs get more usage in our clinic due to their one-size-fits-all cuffs. So if you're looking for some good quality BFR cuffs that won't break the bank, these might just be what you're looking for. All right, everyone, so keep looking after yourselves, keep looking after one another, keep making great things happen, and I will see you in the next video.